Welcome back to Business and Politics. We're talking to Secretary William DAR, formerly the DA. Sir, you were at the ASEAN summits, the investment and business and investment summit, and the other summits. What are some of the key takeaways, sir, in the meetings that you attended that is relevant to our agriculture sector?
Okay, number one, as an ASEAN community, I believe that countries must elevate our engagement in terms of ensuring food security for the whole ASEAN region.
Okay.
And while there is now an existing mechanism of having to be part of the solutions, like those who are producing, say, rice can be part of, say, having part of their buffer stock good for, say, natural calamities.
I see.
When that happens to a number of countries. So we should contribute from time to time. That, I believe we should increase the volume, not only from present level.
Okay.
Number two, we should hasten and harmonize the trade regulations so that, you know, we are already one regional community.
Yeah, AFTA.
AFTA. So again, looking at every opportunity that the balance of trade can be pursued as well. In most cases, tayo na didehado pa rin hanggang ngayon eh.
Okay.
So we need to up our game in terms of our export orientation. You know, that's where most of the ASEAN countries now are ahead of us because they have eyed on the export potentials for the respective country. Now, more than ever, we should not only look out for what we require here in the country, but regionally, globally, export orientation is a must. Then, less trade restrictions, you know.
Even with AFTA?
Even with all those existing agreements, there are still regulations that have to be harmonized. Harmonization is the name of the game.
Okay.
And the power of technology is one key thing that we have to be utilized in all respect. All things about, again, harmonization for one, and requirements, for example, on trade. So I believe that this twin approach, you have the ASEAN government, that's the public route, while there is the route for the Business Advisory Council.
I see.
This is a good twin model that has to interact regularly, which they are doing. So in agriculture, like what we have signed, Malaysia, for one, we said we are interested in terms of palm oil, rubber, and they are also interested maybe in poultry. Okay. Because we are almost there. We are almost sufficient in poultry. Okay. So we can export poultry to Malaysia. So elevating the game again. In terms of rubber and palm oil, we need to request newer varieties of these plantation crops so that we can be competitive with the rest of the world. Again, the word there is competitiveness. Okay. We need every step of the way now to be globally competitive. Otherwise, maiiwan tayo palagi. Right. So every opportunity in terms of elevating our productivity, even to the extent of course, profitability will always be there. So you need to lower your cost of production. Sure. And sustainability concerns, you know, the impacts of climate change. We need now to decarbonize our agriculture because agriculture is one of the source of the greenhouse emission.
So one of the things I heard during the meetings was the need for more complementarity. And you've been talking about that. There should be more trade among the ASEAN members. But one of the practical issues that I've heard from Filipinos is that We make many of the same things that our neighbors make. But do you see opportunities where complementarity can happen, and where would those be, Nano, you think?
Okay. For example, I was talking already about yung kailangan ng Malaysia or other countries na ang dominant population mo ay Muslim.
So they need chicken,
So
halal.
they need halal products.
Yeah.
So dapat ito yung pagigihan ng Pilipinas
Okay.
to produce more of halal products and export it to these countries dominated by Muslims. So ganun din sa atin. Rice for one initially, meanwhile. So we have to develop more relations in terms of rice agriculture with Vietnam, with Thailand. Although, of course, they came here and learned the trade, so to speak, early days. But we are lacking in implementation in terms of the very requirements to make our rice production sustainable.
Yeah. Do you think, sir, RCEP will also help the agri-sector? I mean, that's fully in place now. There was a lot of excitement about maybe exporting durian. Are we ready? I mean...
I think, again, the name of the game for RCEP is competitiveness.
Yes.
And, of course, competitiveness in terms of leveling up your productivity. And being globally competitive, you reduce your cost of production.
Yeah.
And you have to have volume.
Okay.
You have to have quality
Okay.
consistently over time. Otherwise, one thing you may say, I will supply you, but next time around you don't have the volume, you don't have the quality.
Sure.
So those are the long-term insights that you need to cultivate from now and then.
Yeah.
And seeing to it that the support system must be there for private sector, the farmers, to really level up.
Yeah.
It's all elevating of our game in agriculture and agribusiness.
Do you think that the government should take, a much more active approach? Because some of the critics say that if you look at, say, pineapples, if you look at bananas, these crops have really prospered. And they prospered because government did not intervene. Is there an argument there?
Good, you mentioned that. Where the private sector leads,
Yes, sir.
then you only have to have the nurturing support system.
Okay.
Where rice, take the case of rice, where
sir.
government is investing so much.
Yes, sir.
Then there is still subsistence rice farming.
Yes.
So the more you engage with the private sector, the better.
Okay.
The more you partner the private sector with the small farmers, the better. But you need to go to clustering,
I see.
consolidation, so that you can have economies of scale.
Yeah. Sir, are there any particular crops that excite you? Say, I mean, there's a lot of talk about coffee, cacao, for instance. Are the opportunities there really worth looking
very
into?
much so for cacao, coffee. We only produce very little of our requirement.
Okay.
Much of that still is imported.
Right.
Coconut, there's so much importance of coconut in terms of value-added products.
Okay.
So, ang dami.
Yeah.
What else? Poultry, halal,
Yes.
many of these products.
Sir, your predecessor, Manny Pino, was talking about sorghum. Is that a possible? Have you had a chance to look at it when you were in office? It's an interesting crop. Not many Filipinos know. I had to look it up myself, but apparently it's gaining popularity in other countries.
Sorghum, we need a lot of that in terms of the feed industry.
Okay.
Ang laki ng kailangan.
Yes.
Now, I hope with that move of former Secretary Piñol that he can succeed in reintroducing, kasi marami ng introduction ng soybean.
Right.
Hindi nag-fail. Na dito sa North Luzon, this has been properly introduced.
Yeah.
But it never have been developed properly.
Yeah.
Again, what I'd like to derive there, Klink, is if the private sector leads,
Okay.
even in its introduction, and piloting until it is commercialized,
Okay.
you can see more success story than when the government starts.
Ironically, in a sense.
Yeah.
Are there any particular crops that you think we should be looking at? Maybe whether it's a private sector, the government. You mentioned cacao, coffee, sorghum. Is there anything else we should be looking at? Or maybe are there things that maybe we're not paying attention to?
The high value crops in general.
Okay.
Vegetables and the annual fruits.
Okay.
This would be, I would consider them as the low-hanging fruits.
Okay.
We should be investing more. We should be diversifying the rice production areas
Right.
into these high-value commodities, because you can get more income per unit area than when you compare the income coming from rice and corn.
Right.
So again, the name of the game is diversification into high-value agriculture.
Right. So, what do you think about, say, cassava? Because, we were in Indonesia. I hear that country uses cassava to make flour, noodles.
It's needed very much by the livestock industry.
Yes, and I heard some of your Filipino friends who were with you, they were saying that there's even technology to make noodles from pumpkins, from...
Lahat po yun pwedeng magawa, except we don't have the volume.
I see.
Again, it's all backyard. It's all small land holdings.
Okay.
So that's why we can promote as many of these promising commodities if you have the scale.
Okay.
So the farm clustering will be a key strategy to enticing again the private sector to come forward. They don't want additional lands. They only want to have economies of scale
I see.
by way of partnering with the small farmers. Or if you have, for example, the lands in the ancestral domain, they want to partner with the people in those areas.
Right.
So just the government must see to it that the supporting mechanisms to make it possible for this partnership to happen must be there. Otherwise, ang hirap ng pribadong sector kung masyadong restrictive yung regulations mo doon.
Right.
Dapat developmental ang orientation.
Right.
And there should be a one-stop shop even in every department that will assist the private sector now in a big way, partnering with the small farmers and those in the ancestral domain areas.
Interesting. Wow, that's a lot of opportunity. Sir, we'll be taking a quick break. You're watching Business and Politics. We're talking to former Secretary William DAR of DA. Please stay tuned.